by the time that this video comes out, it will be officially fall, and I am so excited. I did a video like this over the summer. It was just a little video, but you guys really liked it, and I'm so glad you did because I had so much fun making that video. So I thought, why not do a fall version? My goal throughout this year when it comes to crocheting is I have a lot of leftover yarn. I haven't been perfect. I did thrift some yarn this year, but it was thrifted. I don't think it counts. But before I buy like new yarn, I want to try to use up as much of my old yarn as possible. And you know what? I also have a lot of saved up crochet project ideas from Pinterest. Let me show you the few stash busting projects that I've done basically over the last month that were inspired by my fall Pinterest boards. Let's go. Okay, so first up are these little clog or croc liners. I love crocs. I have several pairs, and I've been seeing these fur or fleece linings for a while, but recently I've been seeing these knitted pairs pop up on Pinterest more often. But I'm not quite ready to get back into knitting yet, so I looked around Etsy and I found a highly rated crochet version, and I would love to make a red pair to go with my specifically Mary Jane crocs. I think it would make for a nice silhouette as well as add a good amount of warmth to the crocs so I can wear them in the colder months. Here's the yarn I used. I don't even remember what I used this for at this point. And here's the crochet pattern I found. This is the only not free pattern I have in this video. I did not trust myself enough to try and figure this out on my own. So there'll be an affiliate link along the top of the description box, which means if you purchase it through that link, I will receive a small commission. This was my first attempt at a slipper or sock-like project. I've been kind of wanting to try to crochet socks eventually, but I've been too scared, and this gave me a bit of confidence. This definitely was not too difficult. It's definitely not the same as socks. I know that socks are pretty complicated or relatively complicated. You start by making 2 soles, and then you build up to make the rest of the slipper portion. I think these are so cute. They are the perfect addition to the Mary Jane style of crocs. I cannot wait to try them on with other clog-like shoes. They are also so comfortable, and I'm really excited to wear these in the cold months coming up. So let me show you how they turned out. For the second project, I've been a longtime fan of 2 things on Pinterest. One is these shrug/sleeves thing. I actually made myself one a couple of years ago, and I constantly reach for it throughout like early and mid fall. The other thing I love are these scrap crochet sweaters I've been seeing. I love the variegated look to it, so I thought why not mix them together? So I'm gonna make a scrap yarn shrug with a front and back panel so that it kind of looks like a super cropped sweater. This was actually my second idea for this video. My first was this shawl/poncho. I kind of wanted to make a heavier/fall version of the summer poncho I'd crocheted a couple months ago that I absolutely love, but I ran out of yarn way too fast and I just didn't feel like restarting. So I put together all the scrap yarn that is a at least semi-similar size that I had lying around, and I decided I would tackle this project instead. There is no tutorial for me to link, it's just 2 rectangles, but I'll tell you my basic process. So I went in pretty head empty and just put a bunch of chain stitches up to my chest to see what length would look good, but after the fact I'll give you these dimensions dimensions, just in case you'd like to tackle it on your own and you're a similar size to me. The width ended up being about 8.5 inches wide, which for me was 38 single crochets. And in the end, the length ended up being 65 inches. Sorry, I have no idea how many rows that ended up being. I was only going off inches for this project. And all I did was make 2 very long rectangles to this size, one for the front and one for the back. The only downside to this project is I'm not a huge fan of weaving in ends, and the best look for this was only doing 2 to 3 rows of one color at a time. But beyond that, it was basically the perfect project to kind of turn off my brain while enjoying the repetition of single crochets, while also lighting up my little crow brain with many different colors. Once the ends were woven in, which took hours out of my life to do, I pinned the 2 pieces together, leaving enough room for my head and torso, and did a slip stitch to connect them. Lastly, I blocked it just to make sure it would lay a bit more naturally. This is the perfect way to get rid of a lot of scrap yarn you have lying around, and the shrug is a bit easier to tackle rather than an entire sweater if that feels a little too intimidating. But I think I'd like to try a whole sweater out of scrap yarn in the future at some point. But I think this is super cute, and let me show you how it turned out. And for the last 2 mini projects, I have been wanting these super oversized scrunchies for a while. And then on Pinterest, I started seeing crochet versions of it, which I thought was perfect for leftover yarn. I'm gonna try a couple of different ways to make the scrunchies, and in the end, I'll see which one I like more. So for the first one, I used this tutorial. As always, the link will be in the description. I did change a couple of things though. First, I made sure to use a really small hair tie for both scrunchies, as I didn't want to have to wrap it around my hair more than once. The second change I made was I wanted these to be extra large scrunchies. So while the original tutorial has 2 rows of double crochets, I made 3. And on that 3rd row, I did a pattern of 3 regular double crochets, followed by 3 double crochets into the same stitch. That will make more sense if you watch the original tutorial. For the second scrunchie, I wanted it to look a bit more like a classic fabric scrunchie, and I just kind of went at it without a pattern. In the end, I would have made this a bit longer, but I'll tell you what I did anyway, just in case. So I started with making a chain of 71 stitches. Then for about 8 to 10 rows, I just single crocheted those 71 stitches. We're making another rectangle, at least at this point. After that, I wanted there to be less stitches so that it would fit around that tiny little hair tie. So I just started decreasing by doing 2 single crochets, followed by crocheting 2 single crochets together. After another row of single crochets, I decreased again the same way with another row after that of just single crochets. And then for the final decrease, I did 4 single crochets followed by crocheting 2 single crochets together. I then connected the hair tie to the rectangle with another set of single crochets and stitched the 2 ends together. I'll put the pattern up here just in case you want to use it. You can pause the video and take a screenshot. I definitely ended up loving the red scrunchie more. I just think it ended up being more of a statement. Since these are crocheted, you get the added benefit of being able to pin them to your bun, making everything so much more secure. And they add a bit of personality to what is otherwise a very simple hairstyle. And for the last time, let's see how both of these turned out. I was recently watching someone that I had sworn I'd been subscribed to for forever, and I wasn't even subscribed. So this serves as your reminder. If you think you're subscribed to me, just double check. Also, liking and commenting really help me out. That is going to be it for me this week. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a good time and hope to see you back here next time. Bye.